Namaste and hello. In this lesson, we will explore some string manipulation methods. You may recall that a string is a Python data type, which has similar properties to a list data type. Here, we will write some examples of how to manipulate strings to your advantage. Consider two variables. String 1, which we'll make equal to something like Suzy strolled down and laughed as she looked up into the sky. Something like that. And string 2, which will be the sky is blue and beautiful. Okay, we can split the string into a list data type using the split method, which is a very powerful manipulation technique. So, string1.split. And here for our parameter, we use whatever we want to choose as our splitting argument. So for instance, we'll use s, right? So when we print this, so let's print out. And we run our program, we can see we're separating string 1 by every time it sees a lowercase s. So Suzy is the first item, the second item is strolled down and laughed, right? And then you have a space, since spaces are also included within a string, and so on. Notice how the s is no longer present because it's what we are using to split it, right? So we are actually removing this particular character every time we come across it. So this method does return an output, so you have to assign it to something for reusability. Hence, it does not actually affect the string 1 variable. So if you reprint string 1, we can see it's perfectly okay and unaffected. Additionally, we can directly replace any character with a built-in replace method. So for instance, we can use string 2 and we'll do replace the character b with whatever we like. So we will just type in some random characters, add in a smiley face and an exclamation point, and let's see what our output is. Beautiful. We see every time the lowercase b character is supposed to be present, it is replaced with our lovely new string. Another powerful method is join. And join is exactly what you think it is. It joins something together. So here's an example. We will join string 1 with let's say a dash, right? So here, when we print it, we can see for every single character, including spaces, within our string, we are going to join it with this beautiful dash over here. The join method is actually much more frequently used for lists and tuples since they have their own items and are much easier to distinguish. Whereas for strings, our individual items are actually the characters within it, as we can see when they are being separated. If you recall from previous lessons, splicing refers to simply separating or cropping our variables. So take string 1, for example, and we can splice it with something like this, right? So from the 3rd index to the 9th. And when you run it, we can see we're only including a small portion of our string, right? Which would correspond to right here. This is simply to show you that strings, tuples, and lists can all be spliced. Some other methods include taking our string and using the upper method, which, as we can see from our output, will simply capitalize every single string within it. And the same applies if you have some capital letters in it and you use lower. So when we run it, we'll see everything is lowercase. Finally, let's take a look at a Python built-in function called ordinal, spelled like this, ord, which allows us to convert individual characters to Unicode values. Now, this is extremely beneficial for various coding interview questions and string comparison algorithms. So for instance, we can input A, just a simple lowercase letter, and we will convert it into Unicode. So let's print it out, comment the rest out, and let's see what we get. We get this value 97, which pretty much doesn't look much to you. I mean, the letter A doesn't exactly correspond to 97 in my head, but this is very, very useful because we can do the reverse using CHR, which is essentially a character converter. So it converts Unicode values to characters or individual strings, right? So if we use 97 as our input, then we should expect A. As we run it, we can see we get A. So now how is this useful exactly? Well, we can do some pretty cool tricks as mentioned previously. So for instance, we can convert something like this, right? And since we know this will return 97, we can add 3 to it and then convert all of this to a character, right? So whatever Unicode 97 plus 3, which will give us 100, whatever the character is that corresponds to Unicode value of 100, right? So let's see it. And it's D, which actually makes perfect sense since it's exactly 3 letters after A. So keep in mind that a string is sequential, which means that we can always use a for loop to navigate through it. So for item in string 1, we can print the item, which will essentially be each individual character, and we can know that they're all printed one by one. So we can do cool individual manipulation techniques to the character, or we can group them, we can convert them to Unicode, whatever you want. The options are endless. And this is something very, very cool about Python and its data types in general. Fantastic. After some practice of what you have learned here today, you can call yourself a string expert. With this skill set, you should be able to manipulate any string that comes your way. Whether you need to reverse a string, convert to Unicode, count the number of times a particular character is present in a string, or replace a specific character combination with a desired character, you now possess the knowledge of solving these problems. In the next lesson, you will learn about dictionaries.